number 4 already.
I know. It's gone really fast, actually. I'm really surprised. Like,
Yep.
it still feels like we're finding our way with this one a little bit.
Scratching the surface of what it means to be community. Here we go. Community conversations number 4. Myself, Ryan Hartley, and yourself.
Abbie.
So, we're just going to set up a conversation around community and share some insights, share some learnings. I'm going to start with something that I shared the other day, which is just my new description of what it means to be a community. I think I posted this the other day, and you're like, "Oh, this is my fave." So let me give a bit of a backstory to how I come to this understanding. So I'm quite I like definitions, I like words, and so when I've been looking at the word compassion, I kind of broke it down to calm and passion, and calm means to be with, and passion in the olden times used to mean suffering. So I've come to understand that compassion means to be with others in their suffering. And I was like, community, unity. And I was like, it's the same stuff. It's to be with each other as one. I think that's what community means, is to come together as one. How cool is that, right? We are here.
I get excited about these sorts of things.
And we could talk about what does that really mean to be one and all sorts of things. But I think that's my new favorite definition of community, which is just to come together as one.
Absolutely. That's what we're continually doing, I feel, in all aspects, not just here in this space, but just life in general. And, the people that I, surround myself with, we're just continually looking to bring people together, whether that's one-on-one, small groups, big groups, whatever it is, and in various different sort of spaces and places as well. So I really like that, and I think that will always be in the back of my mind now, that that's what we're doing, that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, and some of the things I've shared on the podcast this week is David Hawkins talks about the inherent defect of the brain, which is that it perceives. So the brain is a perceiving tool. And in perception, it perceives very clearly that you're Abbie and I'm Ryan. It sees very clearly that you are separate from me. So anything where we come to the world intellectually, we can't ever be as one, because it's visibly clear that we are two, or we are three, or we are different.
So that connection then is coming from somewhere else.
Right.
Another energy. Yeah.
Right.
A heart, etc.
Right.
There we go. Okay, I'm there. I've caught up.
So it can't be the mind, because the mind in its own way of understanding the world has to set the context of me and you being different. So so communities are beyond mind.
Yes. Oh, so all the right feels.
So if it's beyond mind, this is then what sets the context for being one. Because if we're looking at the world through the mind, it's like, well, very clearly we are separate, we're not one. And I'm my piece, like I'm me, this is what's important to me, this is what skill and talent I have, like that's very separate from you. So how can 900 plus people come together as one? We look different, we sound different, we have different priorities and different skill sets. So when you get beyond the mind and realize that we are connected at a deeper level, maybe a source, a spirit, an emotion, then we can understand, brilliant, all of those things are still true, but they're there to be used in the service of each other.
Yeah, and I just think as well, just on that point, is that actually it then becomes easier to understand people,
right,
as well. Like you're not trying to unravel all the things that we've all been conditioned with over time. If we understand that we're all actually operating from the same space, the same place, I think it then just becomes a lot easier to understand people, and like you often say, like meet them where they are. And then take them onwards with you.
So what does the intellect do when it starts to look at differences, right? The intellect in our schools, in our businesses, they're like, hey, go learn about diversity. Go learn about differences. So John Gordon on the podcast, which will be coming out in a couple of weeks, he's like, we don't need diversity training. We need oneness training. We need oneness training. Help understand that we're more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
We're of the same
I really
source.
get a sense of that from when my children go to school, actually. Just to let everybody know a little bit, we chose to send our children to this school because we felt that our son wasn't sort of getting the support and things that he needed in the mainstream sector. But since moving him there, you know, I wouldn't like to put labels on my children anyway, but just in terms of an understanding of him in an education environment, it was useful. But since being there, I don't think that's been a year now, we've rarely touched on using those words or those labels because of the way that they are seen and heard and supported within that environment. I think they very much embrace this idea of oneness, and that all the children that are there are all incredible and unique, and they're all supported in the same way. And there's so much in that, and then in that environment, which I guess allows them to be one. You know, they don't have, they're not there, and they're not picking out their differences and how dissimilar, or if one's not particularly great at this or one's really good at that. They're just, I don't know, they're there and they're doing what we're trying to, I guess, kind of emulate here as adults. Kids are already doing that in that environment. They're just, I think there's like, I suppose you come about acceptance in that.
Right. 100%. Yeah. Which is a high vibe state. Acceptance. That's the prerequisite of love.
Like, that's massive, isn't it? That's massive. So they're doing that.
Yeah, it's not just tolerance, it's acceptance.
No, they're just accepting that that's who everybody is in that space. And then they're connecting, communicating, supporting, loving.
What a foundation, right? What a foundation for young little humans.
If we can somehow emulate that in what we're doing as adults, that would be.
Yeah, without being too political about it, that's why so much of the progressive stuff in the world, like get to the children, like leave the kids alone.
They're fine. They've actually got it sorted.
It's the adults that need the connection, the education, because the kids are pure at heart. The kids get their stuff, like, because they haven't been added with all the kind of mind-based differences. You know, the purity of children, they don't see things through the world of the intellect, as they haven't learned the differences. They're purely connected at that heart level in that moment. One of the kind of, I'd love to kind of unpack some of the building blocks to my awareness around this kind of oneness stuff, because you know, I have a faith, but you know, Jordan Peterson said the words that God is an animating spirit. So whether we have a faith or not, what I take a lot of inspiration from is anything that is alive is being animated by the same spirit that's in all and through all, right? This universal force of love. And then I read the work of Bob Goff, and he's an incredible human. I wish he was my granddad. But in it, he says that, you know, God sends a friend. You know, it's funny, isn't it? Because many people pray for God, pray to God, pray for a miracle. But where does that miracle come from? It comes in the form of another human being, a friend or a loved one, or someone that was just there at the time that we needed them. So there's something in it, that this universal life source energy, it requires human beings to manifest itself through.
Yeah.
So we can literally be the expression of God for that person in that one moment. And that's when we start to realize, what I have within me is needed by the person in the world who needs it. God has everything, but in this material world, he's like hidden it in people. Yeah. It's like a discovery.
Like a little game, little puzzle.
It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Easter egg hunt. Yeah.
But we could literally be the walking expression of God for the other person. And that's healing, right? And that's the sort of stuff I'm starting to think about communities, the way I see heart work. Yeah.
I sort of had a little example of it this week, actually, sort of you saying that. It's made me realise that kind of is what that was, someone sort of reached out to me and made an assumption, a good assumption, that I did something that I am something that I'm not, in the best possible way. But they're like, well, all the things that you do and all the things that you say just made me believe that you did this already. And I'm like, no, but if I can provide that for you, 100%, that's what I'll do. Whether that, I don't need that label of being this thing in order to do that. 100%. And it was just really
willingness,
good.
the willingness to serve.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. And I think I shared a post in the community this week, which is about the pancake. The first one's always rubbish, right? And so many people then don't go on to do whatever it is because they fear that it's just they're just not going to be good at it, right? And sometimes we just got to go, yeah, I'll do that for you. Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Like,
I kind of find I do that more and more recently. I'm just like, yeah, that sounds good. I think I can do that. I've got those skills.
Yeah. And the humility to say this might be the first pancake.
Yeah.
But I'll put a lot of maple syrup on top of it. You'll never know.
You never know. It's all good. I keep smiling and yeah, exactly.
Community to come together as one. And I think to come together as one means that we all have something in us that the world needs.
Yeah.
Which is the presupposition of heart work, right?
Very much. And I think and then the reason that those people tend to come together as well is because even within that circle, you need each other for various different things.
Can I just read you something that I wrote down? So when we were driving up to London the other week, I listened to this bit from David Hawkins in The Eye of the Eye. It says, the self seeks to make healing contact with the self of the person in the world who is suffering. He says that the personality is a product of love, which then becomes the interface between the personal self and then the people of the world. And its function is to uplift, to communicate and heal, and frequently uses humor to interact with the world. It uses laughter and humor to recontextualize people's distorted viewpoints. And its main purpose is to heal through the recontextualization. Heart work is that. It is the thing within me that seeks to make healing contact with the thing within you. And it's like this, so what is the phrase that we always use? Become the person you always needed.
Yeah.
It's like,
that came up this week again for me, actually. Yeah.
That blows my mind because there's that shows that there's always something in us that the world needs. If we've recognized it, we found it, we've healed it, then the part of us seeks that in other people and knows exactly how to love it, serve it, and raise it higher.
Support it, yeah.
Magnetism.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to read some of that. I think I had to listen to that phrase like 4 or 5 times. The self seeks to make healing contact with the self of the person in the world who is suffering. Yeah. So when we are one, when community, it means that there's a little bit of me and you and a little bit of you and me, whatever that means, or whatever me and I and you is.
Yeah.
But there's something unhealed in you that is something I've healed within. And I see that, and I can speak to that, and I can be useful.
Yeah. And that then obviously creates the ripple effect. Then once they've done the work that they need to do, or you've supported them, they can then go on and do that.
Exactly. So when we bring more people together into this greenhouse of always been yesterday, the 900 plus of us, we know that belonging and being part of this group absolutely knows to be true that you both have something within you that someone else needs, and someone else has something that you would benefit from too.
Yeah.
That reciprocal nature, that honeybee and the flower mentality.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. And it's nice, isn't it, that you don't necessarily go seeking that either. It's just that there's just this knowing, isn't there? There's just this exchange of energy, feeling that you're talking with the right person at the right time for the right reasons, and whatever those things are just become more apparent the more you converse. That's the thing that always gets me a little bit. It's like, well, how did you and I end up having this conversation, getting to this topic point realizing that actually we're here to help one another. That's just like, it always blows my mind. But there's obviously that heart connection that reaches out and goes, you need to speak to this person today.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. That's it. You know, someone was getting confused the other day around all their messaging and, you know, how do I communicate it? And my social platform, is it big enough? Is it growing? I'm just like, look, keep sending out the frequency of your heart. You know, I call it a Batman signal, right? Keep sending out the Batman signal and allow those people who need it to find you. And all that requires is to know the frequency we're putting out, to know the words, to know the language, to know the essence of it, to know the hopes, the dreams, the fears, the pains, all of it. When it goes out, people are like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I find the more that you just put of yourself into that,
right,
that generally is what people see and pick up on most of all, and that's what brings them.
Yeah, and there might be 1,000 coach frequencies, right? But what's the point in me trying to replicate somebody else's frequency? Which I can never do to its fullest strength, right? But the same thing with you and me and all of us. Our main job is to put out our own frequency that's uniquely ours, to contribute to what? The symphony.
Yes.
I know you liked that analogy.
Yeah, I like that one. We like bringing the harmonies. Yes. No. We'll work on that.
Yeah, sorry if the dogs are now barking. Let's move on to phase 2. We've recently posted something within the community just to get their perspectives and their ideas, because the community the Facebook groups have a functionality called everyone. So all of the group admins can use this thing called the @everyone tag. What happens, Abbie, when we hit the @everyone tag?
Everyone gets a notification. Every single person in the group.
Yeah, and I can see as an admin like how beneficial it would be, particularly in a busy world, particularly in a distracted world, particularly in a world where you're not really sure how much of the algorithm is being affected. Being able to know that everybody gets notified is quite a nice thing to know, but it's quite for me, it feels quite a selfish thing. And I know that
and a bit lazy as
100%,
well.
right? Yeah.
Like, I feel as part of my job here is that, you know I don't know everybody personally in the group, but
although people do know you, they're people watching from afar, like, oh, I know Abbie. I feel like I know her.
I know her. Yeah, which is wonderful.
Go and say hello to her then.
Yeah. But I feel like my job is to kind of get to know people as they interact and come into the group and things like that. So for me, using that and as what's come about from us asking the question, it does feel a little bit impersonal, which is not what we want really at all. That's not how we connect, and what we've just been speaking about now, there's not the connection there. So it was our sort of our way of trying to understand how to best like kind of use this within the community, wasn't it, to see how it could be of most benefit to everybody.
So we put out a post, we're like, we got this function, like, under what conditions are you happy for us to use it? Because like I know that I've been, and then the personal perspective, I've been tagged multiple times a day by other communities. I'm like, like someone commented, I think it was Elaine commented on our post, and she said, it just makes you feel, it might have been Nathan, I'm just trying to find out.
So Nathan said it makes me think that the message isn't for him.
So it almost does the opposite effect. It's almost like,
and Elaine said something similar, in that it just becomes quite annoying that it's, she feels it's not very personal, which generally it's not, is it? When I've seen it used in the past, it's a very blanket way of getting.
I think it's worse than that, because it says, I don't know whether originally it said this, but it says you've been tagged. And it's like, oh, I've been tagged, and then paradoxically, like Nathan says, it's like, oh, this isn't for me. This is just an everyone tag. So it does the reverse of what you want it to be true. I think the tag now says you and others. have been
Okay.
tagged,
Right.
which still was like, yeah, okay, well, there's,
Yeah.
so
Wouldn't necessarily make you go and look at it, would it, or anything like that? Which I think is the kind of thing that we've kind of derived from this, is that people are happy for it to be used
yeah,
if it is of importance, basically. If it's like an event or something special coming up that we didn't want anyone in the community to miss, that would be the best use of that.
yeah. I find it funny that a couple of people have gone, do you know what? I've actually left groups because of it, because, maybe it's revealed that they weren't in a
The right
community that
space.
was the
Yeah,
right space. But,
absolutely.
but Heather and a number of others have gone,
Yeah.
the key is that I know and I trust you. So if you believe that you need to use it, and if you believe that I need to see it, then they'll trust us. Now, I think with trust comes great responsibility. Again, Eddie says here, I'm with Heather. When trust has been established along with the relationship,
Yeah.
then I trust that it's important for me to see. So what do you, how do we take that for, for people that are listening, that are coming to get insights, particularly around community and maybe some of the tactical bits around the Facebook side of things? Like, how do you think we are going to move forward using that functionality that is available to us?
Well, I think for me, from this as well, it's what I kind of wanted to touch on today, is how we've managed to establish this trust and this knowing, what is it particularly that we've done that's allowed people to feel that way in the first place? Because I think that's important, and something that has to obviously continue and build upon. And I think for us, as the people sort of like leading on it and putting the content out there, it's having also that trust in ourselves that we are sharing the right information with everybody as well. I think the importance of it will, I don't know, I'm struggling to put this bit into words, but I think what I'm trying to say is that I think we will know when it's for everybody. I don't know. It's hard to sort of say it into words, but it's a knowing within that trusting ourselves that we are leading people in the right direction.
Yeah, and Eddie finishes his thing that says, you're actually the first group to actually address this instead of just using it. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Trust is
I think that's what I suppose. Yeah, well, we're trusting in them, as in trusting in the community as well, to give us this feedback and this knowledge, I suppose. Realizing that how it may come across in some spaces is that it's all about the people that are providing the information, whereas for us here, as much as we're facilitating things, it is very much about every single person that is here, and that they are also getting from this space what they need, as well as us putting out what we think they might enjoy. So it's very much a two-way thing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the definitions of the word trust, and reliability, truth, and I think, well, what is that reliability to? And for us, I think it's here it says to have confidence in,
Okay.
having faith in, place reliance upon, and I think that is an unspoken feeling that people will have because of the commitment that we've made to be the people we say we are being. What I mean by that is, we talk about being heart-centered, we talk about building community, we talk about putting other people first, and we talk about, trying to leave people better than yesterday. And because I think we've shown up being that type of person, people, that we have built they've shown themselves reliably to be consistent, true. And I guess that other thing is, I think about, how do you can you trust the dog not to bite you when you stroke it? There is some belief in the unseen, right? But then the trust, so some of it has to be a leap of faith, and then the trust comes from knowing that actually they haven't bitten me. It's knowing that I can rely on this. I can have confidence in this. And I think that's it. And I think our ability to put it in the middle and go, what are we saying?
Yeah.
Our ability to go, not really sure how to use this, like not really sure the best way of doing it. Well, that paradoxically further reinforces, I believe, a degree of trust, because it sees people, it allows other people to experience us trying to figure out the right thing to do.
Yeah, for them. Yeah, absolutely.
And what do you think then becomes possible with that belief that we're trying to figure out the right thing to do?
It just adds to that ability of trusting in us, that we're caring, we're trying to look after them, and
what do we earn if we make a mistake?
Well, we don't.
I think we earn the benefit of the doubt. I think we earn a bit of grace, because we've shown ourselves to be consistent over time, that we're the type of people that wants to do right by as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Have we tagged everyone in this post?
No. I'll do that after.
So let's revisit then the conditions with which people were comfortable with, just so that if everybody's listening and everyone's doing their research, what were the kind of comments revealing around, I'd be happy for you to use this when?
Yeah, so people were keen for us to use this if we were making specific announcements or things like live events that we wanted people to know about, like breaking news kind of things, I guess. Or, they're talking about whether there could be a way for people to even subscribe or unsubscribe from the tag. So if it was used, they could opt in or opt out, but that's obviously beyond our control. And yeah, things like, what else have they got here? Yeah, one comment which was really nice actually, was somebody said, I figured if you guys are doing it, it's got to be of something of value. So putting out something of value, and not to let them know that they've like won a subscription or something like that. So, and again, what they said there is that they think that the who's putting it out there actually matters. So
what they're doing is effectively saying, look, we trust you to have our back. So in the old days of community, right, the campfire, the reason they say I've got your back is because everyone's facing towards the fire, meaning that your safety and survival from the attack of the bear behind you required someone to have your back.
So, yeah.
And I think that's what we're doing around this campfire, or what we've earned from people, is that they believe we've got their back, therefore they can trust that if we're saying it, if we're doing it, then hopefully it's because we've got their back and it's for their safety.
Yeah.
Their safety, their support, their service, not everything's survival, but
yeah, I get that. So that's our sort of positive feedback, which is great from it. And as I say, the fact that we've asked the question has really, people have been really responsive to that as well. So we will be very conscious of what we pick and choose to tag people in going forwards.
We've got people in community online and in person, things we're doing with the coffee mornings. We just had one last week. It was incredible just to see so many great people, some new,
new faces as well.
New faces, first timers. That's what I was trying to say. Which is great, right? Because we're getting people could try and come and experience it. And so many of the comments that came were like, "Oh my god, these are amazing humans," right? Which we knew. What are you noticing? Kind of the differences in terms of managing a community online and in person? Are you noticing the crossovers? Are you noticing differences? Like, what are your experiences as a community manager?
Obviously, as you know, I love the in-person for many reasons.
Abbie likes the hugs.
in person, I think it's obviously it's a lot easier to read the room, feel the energy, know what you're up against, but know what you're coming into and how to then manage that space, who to connect each other to in the room, whether or not actually you just need to leave it and let people do their own thing, or whether you need to kind of really get involved and get people talking. So I obviously find that a lot easier than the online. In the online space, it's very quick and easy to respond to somebody if they need it. But I think you have to act differently in the fact that you have to look beyond what you're doing within, like, say, the Facebook group or a message on Instagram or something like that. I think you have to look to offer more than perhaps what you would otherwise, because just a quick message might not be enough for somebody. You know, I think, you know, we don't sort of do surface level here anymore. We want to get into the conversation and we want to understand and help and support you as much as we can. So that's a little bit harder because people have got that barrier of being able to put up a barrier as such to not respond. And also you can't read a message the way you can read a person. So that's a lot trickier. But I think what is beautiful about having this online space is that we can just reach so many more people. And as always, even in person, but the connections then go beyond us and go beyond here, which is the most magical part of it, really. You know, I think I've said to you before, I'd love to somehow, I don't even know how it would even be possible, but just like map all the different places and people where connections have gone and have been made and people have met. And I bet it's like, it would just be ongoing and endless, I'm sure, but it'd be a beautiful thing to sort of see visually, I think. Forever learning, really. Forever learning what people need and what people want and how best to show up there. And I'm
together.
always
We unfold together.
I don't, as much as this is like my role here, I don't see it as that I'm the only person to kind of do it. You know, I'm here to be supported by everybody as well, you know, as much as 100%. Possible, and take on all those ideas.
That's definitely the greatest gift I've given myself, is to be a participant of the group. Do you know what I mean? I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. And I think, you know, anybody that's listening that does do a Facebook group that runs out of love with it, it's probably because you've either put yourself on a pedestal, you've not given yourself the grace and space to be learning with the people, you're putting pressure on yourself to feel like you've got it all figured out and you've got an answer, you've used it as a tool to create customers rather than community, and no wonder it's not sustaining you in terms of your energy, because, you know, those things are a limited source of energy. Whereas when you place yourself, you know, in amongst the group as a willing participant and learner, and you're humble enough to be able to learn from anybody within the group, then it's like going down the river together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully just not off a cliff.
No, 100%. There's like, I know there's 1,000,001 things to learn from everybody here in this group, and it's just great. I feel like I can be a bit of a sponge and take on all these beautiful things that everyone has to offer. And I just encourage everybody as well who's listening or tuning in that, you know, we encourage your interaction here so much. This is not just the space for you and I and you others just to post things and share things. You've all got so much to give, and that's the beauty of it, is that you can come here and you can do that, and it's accepted with open arms, you know, because it can benefit so many. So please do that.
I didn't do rules when I first started the group. I didn't do rules, but it was encouragements, and a lot of it wasn't like, you know, you're welcome to contribute. It's like, I expect you to, like, I'd love for you to, like, don't just second guess whether you've got anything useful, like, bring your full self, like, you know what I mean? Come and sure I'll leave a little bit better and all that. Anyway, conscious of time, let's wrap it up. What would you like to leave us with? What kind of thought, perspective? Maybe there's a challenge you want to set some people.
Yeah, I mean, for myself personally, I've realised that when we were all going through like trickier times, that actually it was me that I needed the community. But in order to get to the community, I had to create it. So I would challenge everybody to that it's wonderful that you are here, but also if there are other community or people that you are seeking, if you can't find it anywhere, just go create it and it will come to you and the people will find you, because it's 100% guaranteed that there are people looking for it out there as well. So, and when you do, let us know about it. It would be amazing. So yeah, go create the community that you need, because others will need it too.
Yeah, 100%. So many people I speak to have absolutely been able to build wonderful things because they first needed it too. It's a sad thing, because I think, you know, many of those people then need to find places where they can rest. I think the benefit of a community is the ability to rest within the love of others. You know, I think Gordon Neufeld said that children shouldn't need to work for your love. They should be able to rest in it. And it shouldn't perform for your love, but rest in it. I think the same is true of community leaders, is that whilst it's a little bit tragic that you built something so great from something you needed yourself, hopefully you can find that place where you're able to rest too. And that's certainly true for me. You know, it's not something I've done terribly well, but yeah, there are pockets of places and people that actually I do get to rest in, because I've been fortunate enough to receive a wave of ripples back from what I put out, shall we say. And I hope that for everybody. Love that. Any final thoughts?
No, not today, but yeah, just some key takeaways I think from all these conversations is that, you know, show up as yourself, go create your communities, trust in yourself and trust in others, to bring what it is that you think you need and they need to the world. Yeah, I think those are the things today.
Love that. Happy days. Abbie, thanks for number 4. We'll set a date for number 5 and we'll be back next month.
Fabulous.
If anybody's listening this in the meantime, you've got any topics you'd like us to cover, any conversations, say you want to be part of the next one, come and hang out with us. Head to abty.co.uk/greenhouse. That's where you get all the information around where we can hang out. The best place to find out the events is within our Facebook community. So head to Facebook, search out We Are Always Better Than Yesterday. Come and join us. We have managed to escape the threshold of 900, it seems, for now. So there's a little inside joke. Abbie and I had been building this community for a while. We hit 900 and then it just disappeared down, and then it hit 900 again, and it's gone down, and I don't know what happens, right?
I don't know, but we're in it. We're in it now, so we're going to keep going. Invite your friends.
Invite your friends. Come and spend time. Hopefully, you'll come as you are and leave it a little better. And that's all from us. We'll see you next time, friends.